Hey everybody, it is Sunday morning, July 20th, 2025, coming to you live from Dover, New Hampshire. Somewhat live. Oh my goodness, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm going to ramble. I'm going to ramble, probably for about a half an hour. So if you don't like that kind of thing, pause, stop, change your tab, move on, unsubscribe. We have, look at the counts here. We have like 115 people saw last week's video. 115 versus thousands in years past when we were active. Boy, how fickle we are when we go off the grid, right? We're going to talk about a lot. And, I'm going to be pausing a bit at times. We're going to talk about the trading. We're going to talk about life. And I have always, from day one, wanted to have the premise of, look, just share. Don't tell people what to do. Don't be preachy. Certainly don't tell anybody what to do with their careers. That's why the book in spades leads with don't quit your day job. Look what happened to me. I guess I had to be, I don't say handed, but I had to live through some degree of success to have people want to listen to that, maybe, looking back at it. But I love interacting. And as I said 20 some years ago, if I were just doing this alone or having one person look over my shoulder, great. So here we are. I don't know where we go with this. Where does trading, where do the financial markets fit into my life? Look, we beat this to death lately. I'll just give you an update, especially based on this past week. So what did we do this past week? Let's recap. Last week, we reset the mission a bit to be more public, more accountable, tighten things up a little bit in the limited opportunities that you have to trade outside of your other responsibilities. Tighten up, do what you did 20 years ago, go public diary. You have other people that have jobs, 8-10 hours a day. That's where the focus is. What's available during those other times? Could this work? It hasn't worked for me lately, mainly because of my accountability and responsibilities elsewhere. But okay, let's give this a shot. What is this telling us? So, wow. Probably not a great time to launch that. So July, summer market rhythms. Expiration last Friday, earnings season. With this board, Q2 board meeting preparation, which takes a lot of time, energy, focus. And what have we always talked about? 3 legs of the stool, right? Focus, motivation, and showing up. Make sure my mute button isn't on here. Focus, that's going to be limited windows. We've already talked about that. Motivation, it's still there, but not probably where it should be. So it's kind of 2 legs of the stool that are a little wobbly. And then showing up. Okay, you can at least show up during those limited windows. That should be a given. Do you remember years ago, if you were following the diary, I had an entry that talked about flossing. The lack of consistent dental hygiene that cost me, several $1,000s. Not in terms of dental costs, but in terms of in terms of market opportunity loss. So what happened this week? What happened earlier this week? So first of all, was I profitable for the week? No. Was I profitable in one sub area that might tell me something? Yes. So we have a small, modest sub trading account, which has actually done very, very well recently. It's up over by 30%, which is the modest goal that we've set for the entire portfolio on a part-time basis. Very doable. I mean, gosh, it's like $2,500 a week. Come on, right? But anyway, modest core account, which I'm forced into having it be a core account because it's a retirement account. I can't turn the capital over and over and over again. I can only turn it once a day. So core account did well this week, but overall, no. So what happens? Back to the dental experiment or experience. So I have a wonky knee and a wonky hip that I'm working through. Physical therapist, about 20 minutes from my house. And so what happened? Let's look at the markets this week. What happened? On Monday, very, very strong. Tuesday. So what's happening? What's the high probability for Tuesday? Right, MATD, morning after trend day. Right, best opportunity ever, in my opinion. Market retraces down to some key support from the prior day, has some proof of, or has some trigger mechanism to continue that move. That's the trade sequence. Monday strong, Tuesday morning Europe strong, right? If you're able to trade that Europe session, right, that is golden. If you live in Europe, kudos. I don't. I'm left with a U.S. cowboy market opportunities. So it did well too. So what happened? So what was how was early, but before the regular trading session, setting up Tuesday morning, right? Jellies, if you're watching, rip, or drip, rip. What often happens, the market will just ebb into some kind of key support. That key support, as defined on Friday or Monday, inflation data coming out. Could it have sent the market through a substantial floor that was put in the prior day? Yeah, of course it could have. Market can do anything. Is the probability very high? No. Get, 50 to 70% of your core position on. Add the rest if you have an opportunity. Sometimes it's fast, you can't, but give yourself an opportunity to put the rest on. Sometimes you can only trade what's on there. So what happened? Drip, rip. Great, Don, you called it. Oh, I hate that term. You sensed it, you felt it, you saw it, right? What were you doing? Physical therapy appointment, 8:30 Tuesday morning. Don, if you're going to trade limited windows and if you're going to talk about it with any degree of success, you have to show up. Wasn't there? So I had a core position on based on that same premise from the prior day, but no opportunity to trade around that. And one lesson I've learned this week is just a reminder, even if you're doing this full time, right, trading, my opinion, again, not here to tell people what to do, not my mission. Core position, no, not a bad idea, right? And then trade around it to grow, so grow this above market returns if you're able to manage that appropriately, and then this can boost it even further, right? So this did well, smaller balance, unfortunately. This did not. Why? Either wasn't there. And then there were two other opportunities during the week where I was there. I was able to execute, and I sub-optimized. So I have to now take this data and internalize it and tell me where's it go. So Pete Roberts, right? If you're watching, you've recently launched this personal diary. I think it's great. I've encouraged other people to watch it. The more that I've gotten to know him and he's gotten to know me over the years, we're cut very similarly. We just didn't know it initially. We kind of knew it initially 5-6 years ago. And in fact, I didn't even tell him. I think he won't mind me sharing this. I didn't even tell him that I was this active trader and had a certain degree of success and was on TV and had a book. I didn't tell him. He didn't tell him for like 4 years. And so, because I didn't want to come up as some arrogant jerk. We talked about the opportunity last week. I won't belabor how that evolved, but it's some arrogant. Hey, look what I've done. I told him, and I remember these words to this day because I meant them then, and I still mean them now. That if I do this, I'll do it. I'll come up with an attitude of a servant. I'll be all in. I ended up selling my Massachusetts house. Look, that's cost me a little bit, but I'll be a servant. That's it. And there was a little bit of this, certainly, based on some recent life lessons. And had I not come up with this mentality, I wouldn't even be here. So, but anyway, finally sat down. He and his wife Amanda, also very active in the company. She, wanted to catch them before they board their flight. I went over there that morning and pulled out the book. Had a signature with from one entrepreneur to another, something like that. And so, anyway, the more that we've worked, even though that he's really focused on Origin now, as he said, and I'm focused on Jocko Fuel, that relationship still exists, and we can monitor each other, and the similarities are just so stark. We both were using the term years ago before we even met of tuition payments. Not looking at monies expended in either silly ways or learning ways as losses, but as tuition payments. We share that concept. But what do you do with an entrepreneurial mindset that just likes to be very active, right? Whether one is ADHD technically or just active, right? I don't sit still well. I like to have multiple irons in the fire. One of the reasons I liked focusing on shorter term trading opportunities is it gave me the opportunity to use that strength, if you will, in my head over and over, right? The days would go by fast, the weeks, the months, and the results would be there. What do you do with that? And now I'm in a situation where, okay, I continue to be handed data despite the resurrection of the diary, if we continue this, of whoa, okay? Something's not right. Something's not right. You are either, you continue to be in a window of pause. Not pause in terms of, I mean, again, this is crazy, busy, growing, outrageous, great peeps, great company, highest, fastest growing protein company in the world for good reason, working on even making things even better, right? I love it. I love it. I'm so very, very, very fortunate. I have that. But I lost my train of thought. What do I do with this other passion? Is, again, with a window we're talking about, right? Is it a not yet, right? You're still in this period of pause over here. Is it a, you've done that. Look, you had that pulpit, you had that window of opportunity. You had to go through the pratfalls, self-inflicted or not, MF Global, because people would then listen to you, and you had a message, and that will be out there forever. You're past that now. So it is a not yet. Is it that's past you? I don't know. But for someone that likes to have multiple irons in the fire, it's very difficult for me to assess that. I'm all ears. Right? So where does this go? This very modest collective we have here. Where does the knowledge that I've gained in trading and investing, where does that go? I'm very fortunate to, I don't need to work another day of my life. And I hate that term. I've said this before. I hate the term work. I get the fact, I honor and respect the fact that a lot of people are doing jobs that they don't like. And they can't look forward to retirement enough. And what do they do when they retire? Well, then they want to go do something that they enjoy doing. And that they're kind of good at. They do it alongside good people. They can have some flexibility. It's what I got now. And I'm working. So where does this go? Again, so I'm here in Dover, New Hampshire, in the southern CFO office, if you will. I'll give you a little bit more perspective. I know we talked about this a little bit, but this is about an hour and a quarter from our family in Massachusetts. Yesterday, we had a 3-year-old birthday party for grandson Theo. This is our permanent residence. The main place has become a summer respite of sorts that we've had a lot of fun in, improving and all that, and spent a lot of time there. But technically, this is our home. We're typically here winters, a little bit of the shoulder seasons. And anytime we have something going on in Mass, we break the trip up. So I'm actually here for a week. Went down there. But again, I'm a granddad now. I'm a granddad. 2 on the East Coast in the Boston area, and 1 out in Irvine, California. Do some traveling. I want to do that. I'm at this point in my life where things are different. So I also recognize that I can't be, I can't serve 2 masters in a career way, right? Not in a spiritual way, in a career way. I can't be fair to both. So I either have to let one go, keep my head in it still, but don't actively participate, until such time, and if such time presents itself again. Where do I go with it? I don't know. That's what I am trying to work through. I would love to connect with an individual or a couple of individuals and look, I've worked alongside for or have overseen thousands of traders, over the years. And I could pull, and I still may pull from that. But if you're following now, there's a reason. There's a reason. There's I don't know if it's a belief or whether it's craziness or whatever. And I've heard from a few of you. I'd love to just be able to bounce these ideas off and questions off of you. But I don't know where I go with this. I've said recently that there will be an opportunity, probably in a couple of years, where, I'll have to make a major decision on what to do from a career perspective. That's on pause right now as our mission continues. So I said I'd be rambling a bit here, and I am. Oh, back on the Dover place, right? So this is, I think I've said this before, but this is office in an apartment building, Dover, New Hampshire, southern New Hampshire, about an hour and a quarter again from Boston or the surrounding areas. And we have an apartment up on the fourth floor, oversees the town, if you will. I call it a penthouse. Yeah, it's on the top floor. It's got glass windows, lots of glass windows, if windows can be anything else. Right? On a corner, it's great. It's modest, too bad. Right? But it's cool. I come down here, work, co-work area. I've got a restaurants, 20 restaurants within walking distance. It's a small Boston. So that's why we're here. Anyway, this week, that's why I'm here. And I'm blessed with this locale as well. So again, ramble. Back in the markets, I don't know, Don. Don't put pressure on yourself. Maybe go in public with this thing, put a little bit more pressure on you. You kind of tried to push some things, and you were out of sync last week. Not being there for Tuesday got you out of sync. So the opportunities are there. Maybe it's a lesson for all of us to look, if you want to have your capital in the market, you got to position for the longer term stuff, right? Have a modest core. If you can't even actively monitor or manage that, you should be able to if it's a core account, right? Just keep an eye on it, but just focus on that. None of the short term stuff. Because that razor thin line that we've talked about over the decades between being very, very successful and actually paying your employer, paying the market for being out of sync, that can happen. And with that sub account I had this week, that happened. Unfortunately, it's my larger account. So, or just again, put your money in a mutual fund, right? I'm fortunate to be able to diversify again. And I have a significant bet on myself and my team here that continues to percolate. I still have that confidence. I don't think, in the case of the markets or in my career, I don't think I've lost that mental step yet. I really don't. It'll happen, but I don't think that's happened yet. And I've asked people around me, close to me, to let me know when they see it happening, because I want to know. With the market, it's really easy for it to tell you that something's off, right? Again, this up here is going so well. The other area I'm trying to keep my head in is not. That's objective data that tells you something. So, love to hear from you. Sure, what I get that's any more important than that. Trying to get more spiritually centered. I've mentioned recently. Again, here, I'm not here to impart my faith on anybody. I just know with 100% conviction, based on objective data, facts in my own life, and that which I've been exposed to, with the logic that God has given me. I have no doubt who my Creator is and who His Son is. I'll share those stories. I try to find opportunities if they arise. I had a great opportunity, actually. I probably lost some folks by now, but that's okay. Love you. I had an opportunity to talk to my brother-in-law yesterday at the birthday party, and had a really great conversation. And he was sharing with me that he struggled with a member of his family that he judges everybody. this member. He just judges everybody based on, looks, color, gender, all that kind of thing. And he said he felt he's come a long way by, he doesn't do that, and it's hard for him to interact with this family member. He's learned not to judge people by that, judge them by their actions, and judge them by the what's in their heart. And I thought that was great. What I told him is that look, I've learned to take it even a step farther, which is not to judge someone even by his or her actions. Look, a lot of you have seen me evolve over a number of decades. That's been an evolution for me, and there's that balance, right? Do we condone, support, encourage that behavior which we know is wrong, incorrect, data that we know objectively is wrong and incorrect? No. So certainly take a hard line there. Look, I'm not going to be gaslit. I'm not going to have someone tell me to use an analogy we've used over the decades, that the blue wall is red when it's blue. I'm not going to go there, right? I know, right? But I can't judge. Because the minute I judge, look, go ahead and judge me. Look, all my shortcomings that I'll put up on the shelf here, right? For everybody to see. Got a lot of them. We all do, right? I can't go there. So that's one lesson. It's great back and forth, right? It doesn't make me great. It doesn't make me above anybody else. So that's been an important evolution in my life recently. And what's interesting, my convictions have grown. They've strengthened through life experience, through windows of eyesight, if you will, just seeing certain things. My convictions are so strong. But my ability to not judge has also strengthened. And they're kind of opposing, right? I don't know. I said I'd ramble. Okay. We'll see where the future goes. Look, I may take pressure off myself, may be handed opportunities. I actually show up this week and do really, really well. I don't know. And is that important? Maybe that's the question. Is it important that happens? If it's your livelihood, yeah. If you're trying to use this as an example, like Scotty Scheffler at the Open this weekend, yeah, it's important. Gives you a platform. But, like they say, whoever they is, you can't take it with you. Right? Money is not the root of all evil. Right? Having money is a priority. It is. Tough for a finance guy to say. Dang tough. Love you all. Thanks for listening to the Babble. Have a great week. We'll do something next week. Let you know where we go. Take care.